Hey guys, it's Miss Ash here from 1.4, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the solar system or stars. And the reason I thought this was an interesting topic for us is because as we've been exploring Michigan, one of the places that has been most sensory friendly are planetariums. And we know that from visiting Ella Sharp in Jackson, that that's a place where we can go um, where they keep the lights on so we can see what's going on. They turn the volume down so it's not overwhelming, and it lets us explore space or the stars. Now, this topic is something that I enjoy particularly because when I was younger, studying space was one of my most favorite things to do, and I was even in a science club where that's what we did. We'd meet at school at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and we would check out the stars using telescopes. So I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to share something from my childhood with you. And we are going to start by reading a book called How to Catch a Star by Oliver Jeffers. And today I figured I would give you guys a break from listening to me read all the time, and we are actually going to watch a stop motion short film version of the book. It's just a couple of minutes long, so I hope you guys enjoy.
Once there was a boy who loved stars very much. Every night, the boy watched them from his window and wished he had one of his very own. So he decided he would try to catch a star. He thought that because the star would be tired from being up in the sky all night, getting up early would be best. So the next day, he set out at sunrise. But he could not see a star anywhere. So he patiently waited for one to appear. He waited, and he waited, and ate lunch, and waited, but still nothing appeared. Finally, just as the sun was going away, he saw a star. The boy tried to jump up and grab it, but he could not jump high enough. So he climbed to the top of the tallest tree he could find, but the star was still way out of reach. He thought he might lasso the star with the lifebelt from his father's boat, but the rope was much too short. Perhaps he could fly up in his spaceship and grab the star. But his spaceship had run out of petrol last Tuesday when he flew to the moon. So as the sun came up again, he decided to give up and head home. The boy thought he would never catch a star. Just then, he noticed something floating in the water. It was a baby star. It must have fallen from the sky. So the boy reached into the waves to rescue the star. And just like that, the boy had caught a star of his very own.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
All right, guys, so what did you think of that story? I thought it was pretty cute, and it talked about how a little boy wanted to hold a star, catch a star. Now, that's not something that we really can do, but studying stars can kind of help us get close to that feeling. So, I was looking up some other ways for us to explore space together. And NASA has a kids club. And on their kids club page, they have a link that takes you so you can see who's in space right now. So what astronauts are actually in space right now and what are they doing? So the one that's going on right now is Expedition 63 and it's at #LaunchAmerica. So the Expedition 63 crew has been on the space station for over a month. Chris Cassidy, Anatoly Ivanshin, and Ivan Wagner arrived at the space station on April 9th, 2020. So it has actually been much longer than a month. It is now June. It's nearly July. So they have been there for almost 3 months. They launched from a country near Russia called Kazakhstan. They went in a Soyuz spacecraft. NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy is the commander of Expedition 63. The commander is in charge of the mission. He makes sure it goes well. Chris is from Maine. This is the 3rd visit to the space station, so he's been there 3 times. In 2009, for his first trip to space, he flew on a space shuttle. He became the 500th person to ever fly in space. Anatoly Ivanishin is a Russian astronaut. He is called a cosmonaut. He is a flight engineer and has many jobs. Some of his jobs are doing space experiments, fixing things, and going outside the space station for spacewalks. So that means he gets to walk in space. But we know that space doesn't have gravity. So actually he is floating through space. A spacewalk is when the crew walks on the outside of the space station. Anatoly is flying for the Roscosmos. That is the name for the Russian Space Agency, and this mission is his 3rd stay at the space station. So both he and Chris have gone 3 times already. Ivan Wagner is a cosmonaut and a flight engineer for the mission. He is from Russia. Before he was a cosmonaut, he studied airplanes, and he was an engineer. He started training to be a cosmonaut in 2011, and this is his first trip to space. So he's been studying nearly 10 years before he could take his first trip to space. That's a long time. The 2 new astronauts arrived on May 31st. Robert Bennikin and Douglas Hurley launched into the SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft. They launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They will stay on the space station for at least a month. And this one has happened very recently. If you guys watched on the news, they talked about this quite a bit. And some of our families watched it on the news or on TV as it happened. So NASA astronaut Douglas Hurley is from New York. This mission is his 3rd trip to space. Another one. 3 out of the 4 astronauts we've talked about so far have gone to space 3 times. He flew on 2 space shuttle missions to help build the space station. The space shuttle does not fly anymore. He was the pilot on the space shuttle's last mission. So we have 2 people in space that have done historic things. One, Chris Cassidy, who was the 500th person in space, and Douglas, who rode on the last space shuttle mission. So they are 2 people that are a big part of our space history. Okay, NASA astronaut Robert Bennikin is from Missouri. This mission is his 3rd trip to space. So 4 out of the 5 astronauts we've talked about have been 3 times. He flew on these space shuttle missions. On 2 space shuttle missions, he spent more than 37 hours doing spacewalks to help build the space station. So that is almost, well, it's a day and a half. NASA's SpaceX Demo 2 mission is very important. It is the first time astronauts have flown in the SpaceX Dragon capsule. It is also special because it is the first time in almost 9 years that astronauts have launched from the United States to the space station. So 9 years is a very long time since NASA has spent, or since we have sent people into space from the United States. 9 years. So the last time people were in space, Miss Ashley was 24? 24? How old were you guys? We should do the math. This is a special year for the International Space Station. This is the 20th year of astronauts living and working there. The first 3 moved in on November 2nd, 2000. And they lived and worked there for almost 5 months. Since then, more than 200 people have visited the station. So think about it, you guys, 20 years, that's a pretty long time. Were you guys born when this first happened? Or has this space station always been there as a part of your life? Because I remember growing up and being a little girl and learning about the space station being built, and it was a very cool thing. The next thing is, I just wanted to show you guys the NASA Kids Club. They have NASA TV. They have some stories on here. This is the one we did where we found out who was at the space station. They have some fun activities. You guys can test drive a rover, like the Mars rover. They have a picture show. They have some storybooks and a calendar and a clue game. So they have some pretty cool stuff on this website if you're looking for something to do. The next thing we're going to talk about is one of my favorite resources, and it is called Storytime from Space. And in my classroom, we do this quite a bit just because I think it's super fun. But this website lets astronauts read us books from space. So let's click on one. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but we'll click on one. If I were an astronaut, that sounds kind of fun. All right, so we're going to watch this for a quick second.
Welcome to Storytime from Space, a project of the Global Space Education Foundation. To learn how you can support this exciting project, please visit storytimefromspace.com.
All right, guys. So let's look. We have a pop-up. Sorry, guys. So she's clearly floating. She just floated into the frame, and look at that. Her hair is standing up. So again, that tells us about gravity in space, and then there isn't any because her hair is floating, and so was the book. Now she will go on to read this story, and we are not going to do that today. So if you want to check out what this story is about, if I was an astronaut, you should visit this website, and I'll make sure it's posted below for you. National Geographic Kids is also another really cool resource to learn about planets and space. So this is really cool because it has information on the 8 planets that we currently have. We have Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and Venus. And then we have the dwarf planets. Now, when your moms and dads and I was a kid, we actually had we had one more planet, and we had Pluto, but Pluto has been reclassified to a dwarf planet. So if we were to click on one of these, it takes us to a slideshow that we could see about what the planet looks like. It also gives us facts about the planet. Okay, so if we weigh 100 pounds on Earth, we would weigh 91 pounds on Venus. So that's pretty cool. So it tells us all about the planet, and it tells us how it compares in year, because planets are different distances from the sun, so their years are not the same as our year. Okay, and then it has some games and stuff like that. So it's just a really fun resource if you like learning about planets, or if you want to watch some space videos. Speaking of videos, I found us this link that has 12 YouTube space videos. And some of these are pretty good. So it starts with the Storybots. And Storybots, they sing songs about planets or solar systems or different things to help us learn. And they talk about more than just space, but their space ones are some of the good ones. So let's see. Let's start with the very first one. We'll play one song.
Storybots. We can see the whole solar system from here. I think we can hear it from here too.
We are the planets of the solar system, different sizes for everyone. The music never ends, we are such good friends, and we all orbit the sun.
Here comes the sun, rapping first on this track. From the beginning, I'm the center of the solar system. Planets be spinning around me, so hot.
All right, guys, so that's part of one of their songs, and they're pretty good. So they learn stuff, and they've got some pretty good music. And there's quite a few of them. They have a video from an astronaut who tells us how to brush our teeth in space. So it would be fun to watch his video and compare it to Miss Angie's video to see if it's the same thing. They have a space shuttle launch. So this would tell you guys like how some, or show you guys how some of the astronauts got up to the International Space Center. Okay, they have what the sun looks like. They take photos every day because we can't look at the sun because it hurts our eyes. They have a tour of the moon. So there's just some fun things that you guys could watch on here if you wanted to look at some more videos, and I'll include these links as well. This website tells us if we were to go outside, what planets we might see or what things we might see. So it tells us what time we could see them at or for how long we could see them. And this is showing you guys from Lansing just because that's where I live, but you guys could set it to see what it would be like in Jackson. So it gives all sorts of information of what you could see if you were to go outside to, if you'd have good visibility or if you'd have a hard time to see. It'll just let you, give you a chance to understand some of the stuff that you see when you stand outside in the dark. The last thing that we're going to talk about is Galaxy Playdough. So if you are like the little boy in our story and want to hold the star in your hand, you guys could make Galaxy Playdough this week. And I will include the directions for you guys in our link below or in our attached document. And since this is something that I love so much, I would love it if you guys showed me some of your space activities, or if you go outside, let me know if you guys see a constellation or one of the planets in the sky. Bye guys, happy star watching.